Hi, I'm Delorianne, and I'm here with Tamara Berry.
Hello. Sorry,
Hello.
that's something on my screen.
I'm here tonight to talk with Tamara Berry about all of her lovely books. You'll see that behind me, she's got plenty to choose from. Um, she is going to be at Coastal Magic this year for the first time, so I am just thrilled to have this opportunity to talk about all of these fabulous books. Um, what have you been up to
This summer, in general,
in
uh,
general?
um, well, I'm an avid hiker, so I've been eking as much out of summer lately as I can, because the weather turns pretty fast. I am not in Florida. I am in Washington State, so I am on the other side of the country in a very different climate. And when the weather turns, it turns really fast. So.
I miss seasons. It's just hot here.
Oh, see, I would trade seasons for a year on the beach, no questions asked.
Well, you know what? That's our 2023 sorted. So I have your bio here, and this is what is on the Coastal Magic website. And it's Tamara Berry is the author of two acclaimed cozy mystery series, By the Book and Eleanor Wild Mysteries, and under the pen names Lucy Gilmore and Tamara Morgan. She has several puppy themed romantic comedies and women's fiction. The one thing all her books have in common is lots of laughs. So, how important is laughing to you? I mean, that is I love humorous books.
Yes. So it's the one thing that I like demand out of all my media, like music, movies, TV, books, and
Mhm.
I get really disappointed when it doesn't happen, especially in things like westerns or drama, like even like cop dramas. Like I need somebody who's a little bit irreverent and silly in there to kind of break it up. Um, I'm pretty picky that way.
Yeah. Are you a punter? Are you a one-liner? Are you a snarky person? What kind of humor?
Probably snarky, sarcastic, and I really like banter. That's the
Nice.
one thing that I try to put in all my books because I find it very amusing.
Does that come naturally to you, or is that?
No, no, it's like there's a Seinfeld episode where George Costanza is like weeks afterward he has this like altercation with somebody. He's thinking of all the great one-line zingers that he would like say if he could just go back. And that's kind of what writing banter is for me, because you like the first pass is just like dry, boring. And then each time you go back and it's a little bit zippier and a little bit zippier. Cause so I call it the George Costanza effect because I get to do what he never got to.
Oh, that's so fun. I mean, yeah, I think of things like 3 days later or a month later. I'm like,
Yeah. You can be hilarious if you're a writer because you don't have to be hilarious on the fly. You can be hilarious, 3 months down the road.
yeah. So I have always been a reader. How did you discover your love of books?
So, I had an aunt growing up. I had many aunts growing up. One in particular, she was a teacher, and she every year for Christmas she would buy all of her nieces and nephews, and it's a huge family, so we're talking like 20, 30 of us. We would all get a book. Aunt Kate always gave us a book. Um, and like nobody cared about the book present except for me. Like I would give up every other present at Christmas for Aunt Kate's book because she was a teacher and because she was a reader and she is also a writer. She knew exactly what to get for what age group. And so she like set me on this course. I didn't find out until years later, but so she knew that I loved the books. And so her goal was to get me to love Pride and Prejudice as much as she does. So she started with like, Little House on the Prairie or Catherine Called Birdie or, just like introductory, almost romance style books, and then progressed me up through the years. So every year for Christmas, I got a little bit closer to the Pride and Prejudice like final goal. Like Jane Eyre was in there and all sorts of really fun books. And it worked. Like Aunt Kate got me all the way up. She got me to love Pride and Prejudice when I was probably like 15 or 16. I was really young. And so I credit a lot of my early experiences with literature to her because she
Oh,
sort of, yeah,
that's so
she
sweet.
channeled me that way. I know everybody needs an Aunt Kate. Every kid needs them.
How do you feel about the Pride and Prejudice retellings?
I love them.
Right?
I love them all. Yeah, like I know that. So that Persuasion movie with Dakota Johnson just came
Mhm.
out, and I know the internet was kind of mean, but I really enjoyed it. Like I just love everything that has to do with the costumes and the stories and I'm all in.
Yeah. I've seen,
Also, that
uh,
one was funny. I will say. I told you, media when it's funny. I'm in.
that's one I haven't seen yet. I've seen a couple, probably not many as you, but I've seen a
Yes,
couple.
yeah, no, I recommend it. It was really entertaining. I enjoyed it.
Nice. So, as an author, like the moments you remember, the first time you hold that contract or see your book go out into the world, that's pretty important. But I'd like to ask you about a fan interaction. Do you have any memorable fan interactions when you're like, "Oh my God, I'm an author"?
So the first book I ever wrote is called Love is a Battlefield, and it's about this group of Jane Austen reenactors. Which, now that you know my love of Pride and Prejudice, makes absolute sense. And it's modern day, so they're reenactors, and then they're like trying to hold their annual event, and they want to hold it in the same place as this group of Scottish Highland Games athletes. So those are like the guys who throw the cabers and throw buckets of bales of hay and stuff like that.
Oh,
And so they battle over this land in like a true English versus Scottish fashion. It's a really fun book. But so I wrote it and published it. And then a few months later, I noticed this huge uptick of website visits. And I was like, what's going on? Where is this all coming from? And I found that it was all coming from Michigan, where this group of actual Scottish Highland athletes had like discovered my book and were freaking out over it because they'd never been like seen themselves portrayed as like these super sexy, hot, throwing their logs and getting all the ladies stuff. And so a bunch of them read it and they were like, they had this little forum and they were like chatting back and forth about how over the top and ridiculous it was. And one guy like emailed me and he wanted to let me know that he read it and enjoyed it, but that they don't take it nearly as seriously as I made it in my book. And I was like, so you actually read it from beginning to end? And he was like, yeah. I was like, well, would you give me a quote from my website? And he did. And it was so long ago now that I don't still have the quote. But I remember it being really funny.
oh
And
my,
I put it up on my website. It was there for a couple of years.
that is fantastic. That
Yes,
is fantastic.
I would love to go visit them someday because they were such good sports about it.
Yeah. So, we have a section here that I'd like to call the show and tell section. And for me, I love looking at pictures. Absolutely love looking at pictures. And here's a picture that I found that I would love you to tell us about.
Okay. So one of my favorite things to do is drink. Um, which sounds like a really healthy hobby when you say it like that. But in this one, my husband and I went to this bar in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, which is just across the state line. And if you want to order their special margarita, you have to blend it yourself on this bike. And so they put all the ice and the ingredients in this blender and then attach it. And then like in front of the whole bar, you have to like climb up on this bicycle and then pedal to get it blended. So that's what I'm doing there. I'm trying to make it look cool. But I don't think I did.
What
And I refused to wear that helmet that's dangling from the bike. It would have
a
wrecked my hair.
helmet?
Yeah, it was
Oh,
like a
okay.
joke helmet, but I was like, this is gonna wreck my hair. I'm not doing it.
Well, here's the thing. By the time you finish blending the drink, you are completely in need of the drink.
Yes, that is very true. And actually, I think by the time I sat down and did this, I had already had several drinks. So
Talk about a refreshment.
yeah, as you do.
And then another picture that I found that I thought was absolutely perfect because as attendees of Coastal Magic Convention know, we have been doing murder mysteries the past few years, and we're going to be doing another one coming up in February. But this picture right here has a murder mystery tie.
Does. So that's me and my husband at a murder mystery party a few weeks ago. It was like luau tropical themed, which is why we're dressed so adorably. We like really love murder mysteries. We love any sort of party where you have to wear a costume, which is really funny if you like meet my husband. So he's like from Parks and Rec, like the Ron Swanson character as him. He's like super serious, super gruff, like whiskey and working with his hands. But like you get him near an opportunity to wear a costume, and he is all in. So he's a bartender who broke my heart. That's the story that's happening over there.
Oh, wow. So who was the murderer? Who was the murderer?
The victim was my husband. He ended up having to die, and he did it very theatrically. It was very good, and none of us guessed the murderer correctly. But it was really fun because we were just in this neighborhood at my friend's house, and one of the women who was there is like a theater actress, and so she would just let out these blood-curdling screams throughout the night, in keeping with her character, and like the whole neighborhood. Like I'm surprised the cops didn't get called because it's just this nice, quiet luau party, and then this woman going.
Oh my goodness, that's funny. Did he get any kind of award for his acting ability? Is there a dollar store trophy on the mantle somewhere?
And I was like kind of upset because there was this particular murder mystery had money, so everybody was given like a stack of fake money, and then we had to use that money to like bribe other people and like extort money from them. And I was like, well, at the end, what happens if you have the most money? Like, what's the prize? And my friend's like, oh, I didn't get a prize. And I was like, well, what's the point of this money then? So I was just throwing my cash at random because there was no carrot dangling from the stick. I had no reason to hold on to it.
Oh my God, that's hysterical. Oh goodness.
Yes. So if you're having a murder mystery party, invite me. I'm a lot of fun.
Yay. Well, I definitely look forward to your participation in February.
Yes. Yeah. No, I'm really looking forward to that too.
Okay, so I would like to begin our deep dive into your website. And let me just actually bring us back to here for a moment. It shows here I have you down for 28 books. That's a lot of books.
Yeah, I don't think I've added them up in a while.
If people want to follow along at home on a secondary device, you'll see in the top corner there's a QR code that takes you right to Tamara's website. And whether you're looking for Tamara Berry, Lucy Gilmore, or Tamara Morgan, it will all take you to the same website. So another couple of seconds for people to get that. And then let's bring us back to this slide right here, because this slide shows your 3 different pen names. And if you could just give us a little background as to who these authors are.
So I know it is confusing for a new reader coming to find me to have all these different pen names. So the website really tries to kind of clarify what you're going to find under each name. Tamara Berry with its little mysterious black cat is my cozy mystery pen name. And that's all going to be any of my, like I write paranormal mysteries and also just contemporary mysteries, and they're all going to be under that umbrella. Tamara Morgan here with the diamond. She has a diamond because I wrote a Jewel Thief series under that name, and that's kind of what I'm trying to draw in there. I was Tamara Morgan first. That was my first pen name. It's where I first started writing romance. It's where you can find the Love is a Battlefield book that I was talking about with the Scottish Highland athletes. And so they're all contemporary. They're all pretty funny. They're all open door. And the Tamara Morgan ones tend to be pretty action oriented and pretty fast paced. And then Lucy Gilmore in the middle there has a little puppy paw print because most of my Lucy Gilmore books are puppy themed or centered around puppies. When I was Tamara Morgan, my publisher kind of decided that we needed to rebrand and do a new direction. And they said, well, we really would like for you to write puppy books. So let's pick like the cutest, happiest, puppiest name that we can. And so they had me make up a list of all the cute names I could think of. And then they just picked 2 of them and mishmashed them together, which is why you get Lucy Gilmore.
Nice. And when you say open door, what does that mean?
So in the cozy mysteries is closed door. You won't find any strong language. You won't find any sex scenes. There's kissing and a few innuendos, but nothing beyond that. In Lucy Gilmore and Tamara Morgan, the sex scenes are described in detail. There's pretty strong language in both of them, so they're PG-13 R-rated area for sure.
Gotcha. So I would like to go to the Tamara Berry selections first. So that is these books right here. And just so that we can make it as large as possible for those following it along at home, I'm going to pin this screen. Wave goodbye, Tamara, because we're going to hear you, but we won't see you. Okay, so now we have your cozy mystery books under Tamara Berry. So if you could give us a little bit of information as similarities and differences between these two series.
Okay, so the Eleanor Wilde mysteries were the first mystery series that I wrote, and they are light paranormal. And I say light paranormal because the main character is a medium, but she's a fake medium. She's a con woman. So she fakes almost everything that she does. But then as she's going through this mystery that she's solving in the first book, she realizes that her powers might actually end up being real. And with each book, those powers get a little bit stronger and she starts learning more and more about her abilities. But they're not paranormal because she doesn't believe most of it. So it's kind of an odd mix of actual tricks that a fake medium would use to try and trick people, and then real ghosts and spooks and mysteries that are happening.
Nice.
And then By the Book Mysteries is about a thriller writer who inherits her grandfather's cabin and moves with her teenage daughter out to the remote wilderness, and then discovers bodies piling up. That one's really fun for me because it's pretty meta. The thriller writer is around my age, writes similar books to mine, and has a teenager who's kind of sassy and sarcastic, just like mine. So it's not completely based off of me, but there are definite similarities.
Nice. So on the By the Book series, I know book one is out and book two is coming soon, and then the third one is in 2023.
Yes.
How long do you think this series is going?
I have no idea at this point. So it's right now it stops at 3. The potential to keep going forever is there. I think it's still pretty early days. They're each 6 months apart publication wise. So we're still kind of in the early days of figuring out where we want to go from there.
Nice. And then the four Eleanor Wilde books, those all four of those are out. Are there plans to continue this series, or is this one wrapped up?
That one is wrapped up. And it's wrapped up pretty tidily. So if you definitely want to read them in order, but by the time you get to the end, you reach a satisfactory character and series conclusion. So you won't be left hanging.
Nice. I see the little kitty cat on here. So is it equal opportunity cats and dogs in
For
your
the mysteries? So for the mysteries, the Eleanor Wilde mysteries, I didn't have a cat in it when it first started, and my publisher was like, "Yeah, you have to put a cat in this." I was like, I do, like, this is a cozy mystery, it needs a cat. So the cat, who now features prominently on the cover of every of the books in that series, was not intended to be there. And she has kittens at one point, so there's like by the end there's like 12 of them running around in there.
Oh, that's great.
They wanted cats, they get cats.
They got cats.
Yeah.
Okay, so one question I always get when we talk about mysteries, these are cozy mysteries, which means that you've got lighthearted, you've got amateur sleuths, and there's usually a hint of romance in the background. Do these follow that pattern, or is there an intensity level? Some people might be worried about any violence, extreme violence, but that's not in these books, right?
No. So I've heard it, a few of them called grittier cozy mysteries, because I do describe a little bit of the blood and the situations around death. But yeah, they're not gonna keep you up at night. Like, you're not, there's nothing that's gonna like scare you or gross you out or anything like that. And as for the romance element, obviously I'm coming from a romance background, so every single one of these books has a hint of romance in it for sure.
Yeah. I love a mystery book, whether it's a cozy or the grittiest of grit. I just read it all. So I was telling you before we started recording about several people that I know have read Buried in a Good Book, and for like 4 weeks it was like dominoes. They were just one after another. Like, you've got to read it. It's so good.
Yeah, I really like that one. It's kind of a mystery for romance readers. So if you're a romance reader and you've never read a cozy mystery and you're not sure you want to make the bridge, I feel like it's a good bridge, especially if you're into rom-coms, just because a lot of the vibes are the same and the writing style is the same, at least for me. So if you're on the fence, I say go for
You say go for it.
it. Mhm.
Well, I can second that notion. Is there anything else you'd like to talk about, theme-wise, tropes in these books that people might want to look out for?
So small town for both of them. The first series is set in England for the most part, so it's kind of good for Anglophiles. And in the Eleanor Wilde mystery series, like I said, she's a con woman. And you will find across several of my pen names and several of my books that I often do criminals and con artists and just generally disreputable people. That is a theme that I really like and often pops up in my books.
Nice. I like the off the beaten trail. I think that's a great take on it.
Yeah.
So, okay. So next we're going to your Lucy Gilmore pen name. And you've got one series and then you've got two standalones. And I'm assuming these standalones are completely unrelated to anything else.
They are completely unrelated.
Okay. So what can we expect aside from all the dogs? Because I see all of these books have dogs in them.
Yes, so the Forever Home series, it's about a group of sisters who train service puppies for a living, and then they each kind of fall for their client in a highly unprofessional way. But if those books are super cute, if you buy the paperback copies, the publisher put like what's the word? Where they take the photos and like behind the scenes kind of, so of each of the guys with the dogs.
Yeah.
So it's super cute. So the one you see on the cover is each of the cover models with a different dog, and then it kind of tells you a little bit because they're all like famous dogs. So the first one in Puppy Love, that little Pomeranian,
Uh-huh.
is the dog of the photographer that Sourcebooks uses for almost all their photo shoots.
Nice.
And so he's like this little, his name is Rocky Rockstar. And so he's in like a ton of books because he belongs to the photographer. So he's right there and he's used to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the third one, he's an Instagram star too. So it's super fun if you buy the paperback copies because you get like a behind the scenes of the dogs themselves.
Oh my goodness. That must be amazing. Can you imagine? That's your job. Photograph
I
people with
know.
dogs all day.
I live on the wrong side of the country to like go to any of the photo shoots, but I would get to see the outtakes and I was always super jealous.
Oh my goodness gracious. These are great.
Yeah.
What about themes and tropes that show up in these books?
So these ones are all very found family, I
Mhm.
think, and again, small towns. The Forever Home series is linked by a group of sisters, so there's a lot of family drama and family ties in there. Most of my books in some form or another are Grumpy Sunshine. That's just a pairing I really enjoy. Like I think Rough and Tumble is Grumpy Sunshine. I Hate You More is Grumpy Sunshine. Puppy Love is Grumpy Sunshine. Puppy Christmas is Grumpy Sunshine if you switch the male and female roles. So yeah.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of that grumpy sunshine trope too. I didn't know it was a thing until what, like a year or two ago, they started to become more and more popular. And it's not like they weren't popular or weren't in the stories before. I just don't know that we had a name for it. And then all of a sudden now it's like I can read my fill of them because it's really become a very popular trope. I love it.
Yeah, and I feel like the industry has started doing a better job of labeling the things that readers like. We're able to more succinctly pull them out and be like, this is what you're going to get here. This is what you're going to get here. And that's a fairly recent development, I think. They've
Yeah.
always been there. We just haven't always been good at articulating it.
which is interesting for an industry that uses words for a living.
Yes.
But yeah, I think that these books look so cozy, you
Yes, they
know?
do. There's heat to all of them though, so don't be too like I know that the puppies on the cover can be a little bit confusing, especially once you start getting to the cartoon covers. But yes, these are open door.
Yeah, beautiful covers, beautiful covers.
Yeah, I really like
Um,
these.
is there anything else that you'd like to mention? I see that you have a holiday one in this series of pen
Mhm.
name. Is that the only one that's a holiday book?
In this grouping, yes. It was really fun to read. I don't it's Christmas light, I would say. Like Hallmark wouldn't want to turn into a Christmas movie. There's not enough snow and happy. So it's more of a background setting than like central theme of the book.
Gotcha. Well, I'm sure they're lovely. They look like a lot of fun. Okay, so then now we go to Tamara Morgan, and these, um, this seems to be the pen name you have the most books under, and
Yes.
so I think you mentioned that this was your first pen name.
Yes. So even though it has the most books, I'm not actively writing under this name now.
Mhm.
So this is kind of where Tamara Morgan is going to stop. So if you want to explore this list, it is complete in total, which makes it a little bit easier.
Yeah. So this one here, it just going by the covers alone, it looks like you've got some uh sweet, you've got some spicy, you've got some these ones colorful ones in the bottom corner look to be a little bit more suspense oriented. Where would you like to start on your series for this pending?
So I mentioned in my mystery name that I love thieves and con artists. So I'll start there. So the Penelope Blues series is one of my favorites, even though you're not supposed to have favorites. So she is a jewel thief and she is married to an FBI agent. And
Oh,
so this 3-book series is they're already married when it starts.
uh-huh.
And so it's kind of the first one is more of the backstory of how a jewel thief marries an FBI agent, and then it's kind of the shenanigans as they try to figure out how their marriage is going to work
Yeah.
while she's still actively being a thief,
Oh
which
my
is really
God.
important. It's important not to give up your dreams. Um,
And to find someone so supportive.
I know, and able to get you out of tight situations.
Oh my God, that's great.
Yeah, so
Fabulous.
that series is super fun. And it's actually that's probably my least spicy. So if you don't want that one is closed door. So if you want something that's not too hard-edged, that's a really good one. And then Confidence Tricks, one of the middle ones, standalone ones, is also, as the name suggests, jewel thieves and or he's an art thief and con artist. So
Gotcha. So what about Winter Rescue?
So those are a series of novellas that I have set in my hometown, Spokane, Washington. And so it's a search and rescue team. And so it's a bunch of people who go out in the wilderness in all weather, but in this series, it's in winter time to save hikers who get lost for the most part. And that's a real thing that we have here. I've got a friend whose husband volunteers for search and rescue, and he is out every weekend saving people's lives. People get lost a lot out
Oh,
here.
I bet. I mean, you go out there, and if you're, especially if you're not aware of what you're doing, this might be your first hike, it might look deceivingly easy. And then by the time you know you're in trouble, it's way too late.
Yeah, and if the sun goes down and and the winters here are long and cold and you're on a mountain, it can get pretty dangerous pretty fast. But I feel like we have a good system for rescuing. Like our search and rescue teams here are pretty good. So
Yeah.
I wanted to capture that in the series.
Yeah. And In the Clear is a reissue, right?
So that one I have issued under my Lucy Gilmore name, and you can get it in the Prolific Works giveaway that we are doing right now.
Awesome. So let me write down to make sure that we add that link. So that people can grab that. And then are there any specific tropes in there, second chances or rivals or
Oh,
any?
goodness, I think I have like just little bit of everything. So the Getting Physical series is about a group of friends who are opening like a medical practice in Connecticut.
Uh-huh.
Um, Montgomery Manor is a modern day upstairs downstairs series. So it's kind of like it was like my version of Downton Abbey set in modern times.
Mm-hmm.
So each of the books is a different pairing. So the first book is The Chauffeur and the Nanny, so it's like a downstairs romance. And When I Fall is an upstairs, so it's like the rich son and his stepsister, but not in a weird way. And Because I Can is upstairs downstairs, so it's like a handy woman and then one of the rich guys. So those ones are really fun if you like the drama of Downton Abbey.
I recently watched Downton Abbey after a friend recommended it to me a couple hundred times, and I was charmed. I was charmed.
I can't believe you hadn't seen it before. I didn't even seen a single episode.
I no, I hadn't. It wasn't until the first movie came out that I was finally like, okay, let me just do this because she likes it so much. Let me just do it so that we can talk about it. And I was charmed. I mean,
Yeah,
I'd never thought about something like that before, really in a story. And so now I do. I This Montgomery Manor sounds exactly like the modern version of that.
yeah, yeah. No, and I think it's fun, and I think that's one of the things that was kind of missing from Downton Abbey is I don't think they had a lot of upstairs like downstairs romances. There was just the one,
Hmm.
the young daughter. I
Yeah,
I would like to see more crossings of that barrier.
yeah. Okay, so let's see, model behavior, and I think we still need to talk about games of love.
Yes. So Model Behavior is another novella. It's just a quick, short, pretty spicy read about a model and her best friend who's like coming to claim her after a promise they made where, you get to a certain point and you're not in a
Oh,
relationship. So she has to fight against his advances. It's really fun.
yeah,
And then Games of Love is That's My Scottish Highland Athlete series. So that was the one with the Jane Austen reenactment group in the first book. And that is a loose Pride and Prejudice retelling. And then The World is a Stage is the Taming of the Shrew retelling. As my favorite Shakespeare. You can make it a million different ways, and I would watch it every single time.
yeah,
So it's one of the Highland athletes who takes to the stage to help out a friend, as you do.
as you do. We have one specific reader that I know of in the Coastal Magic Reading Challenge who Taming of the Shrew is a personal favorite. So I have a feeling that might be of personal interest to that
Yeah, definitely.
specific
I
reader.
just love that storyline. It's like the ultimate grumpy sunshine, really.
Yeah. Awesome. Awesome. Is there anything else you'd like to point out? Any freebies, any promotions coming up, any um well, no, because you said that Tamara Morgan is on hiatus.
She is, but I will say that most of these books are really, really cheap on ebook. So I am notoriously terrible at doing anything with my backlist. So it kind of just sits there and it kind of just sits there at 99 cents a book because I can't be bothered to do anything with it. So great opportunity to swoop in and get a lot of really cheap books.
Nice. Nice. So I'm going to bring us back to the beginning, and that is this. And I am going to unpin us. So, hi. So, um, that right there, I mean, I have been seeing your books. In doing the reading challenge, I'm seeing what people are reading and I'm reading their reviews to see what people think about stuff. And I've made my marks about, oh, I'd like to try this one or I'd like to try this one. So it's so exciting for me to be able to talk with you and hear your take on these stories. So now, I mean, it did expand my immediate to be R read section already. So so thank you very much for that.
Yeah, I don't know how you will ever catch up with all of the authors
I know
coming to
there's
Coastal Magic.
a lot of authors, but that's why we call it a challenge. The challenge is to read at least one book by every author.
Yeah.
And people do it every year. There's a handful, sometimes more than that, that do read one book by every author. I've missed it 1 year. I missed it one
Oh,
year.
that's
Um,
impressive.
yeah, so this year, I'm kind of, I think this is the largest author list that we've had in the last few years. So um obviously it's a little tougher this year, but I'm doing pretty good. I'm solid in my standings. I can't collect any points. I'm the one running it.
I feel like you should have a shirt like for winning a race, like running a race. You should have a collection of shirts for each time you make
I did this reading challenge and all I got was this shirt.
it.
That's great. Okay, so this was fantastic. Thank you so much for sitting down with us and
Yes.
going through your backlist.
Thanks for having me.
Was there anything that surprised you once you see it all laid out and, doing the preparation for the show and, stuff like that? Was there anything that surprised you when you were looking back over your catalog?
I just like how pretty it looks all set. I've like never seen them all on one page like that before. Everything is so colorful. It looks so happy. I like that. My books will make you happy, and that's what the colors say. Colors
Oh,
don't lie.
yay. Yeah, you've got whoever's doing your covers, you've got some really great covers in there.
Yeah,
My
I've had.
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say my particular favorites are the By the Book series and then the Penelope Blue series.
Yeah, the By the Book I know is by Monica Rowe.
Mm-hmm.
She did Tessa Bailey's newest ones
Mm-hmm.
with the little drawn covers, so she's really talented. I couldn't tell you offhand who did the Penelope Blue ones, but yeah, they're pretty fun.
Very nice, very nice. And I know because people ask me all the time, so if I let you go without asking this question, I might get in a lot of trouble. Audiobooks. Where do your books stand in audio?
So you'll find some of them, but not all of them. The Getting Physical series is on audio. All of my puppy books as Lucy Gilmore are on audio.
Mm-hmm.
The first three of my Eleanor Wilde are on audio, but not the fourth, which is, I know it's really hard. So like I hate to start something and then not be able to finish it in that
Mm-hmm.
same format. So there's only three on that one. And then the By the Book series is all on audio as well.
Nice. Are you an audiobook listener?
I am. I like to listen and color, like one of those coloring apps where you just like click the buttons. So I will sit there and do that for hours. I love it.
Mine is Magic Puzzle. It's a download through whatever PC. I don't think it's Google Play. It's a Microsoft store or something. I don't know.
Mhm.
But it's called Magic Puzzle. You can play 35 pieces or you can play up to 1,200 pieces all on your
Oh, see,
computer.
it's so satisfying to just click, click, click.
Yes,
I don't know why. Do you listen to audiobooks while you do it?
I do all the time.
Yeah.
All the
I
time.
It's amazing.
I love reading. I love sitting down and reading and immersing myself in a story that way. However, real life happens and I work from home. I don't always need to be paying that much attention. In which case, 99% of the time I've got an audiobook going. So I could easily get through an audio a day or an audio every 2 days or something like that. So it's not unheard of for me to read, 4 or 5 books a week on an average, and then sometimes more, depending on how long the books are.
That's
So
really impressive. I can only listen to an audiobook and do something else if I've heard it before. So I do a lot of re-listening to my favorites
yeah,
because I need to pay attention. So I am impressed.
I try to re-listen because there's so many books that it's like I love, but then I go, oh, but these other 3 books I haven't read yet. I haven't discovered that story yet.
Yeah, I get really hooked on specific narrators. That's my downfall. And
Right.
so then I'll want to listen because I like fall in love with their voice and then I want to just listen to everything that they read.
Yeah.
Even if it crosses genres.
Yeah. I like all genres. All genres. I mean, it's all about the storytelling. It could be my mood, it could be just, everybody's recommending it, so I want to try it. I don't care. You tell a good story, I'm going to be there. I don't care.
And that's why you'll never run out of things to read.
Exactly. Well, on that note, I'd like to thank you, Tamara, for joining us tonight and telling us about your books and letting us know where to get those. Um, on social media, you could probably put in your name, any three of your pen names, into a variety of social media sites to find where you are. But where do you hang out the most? Where can readers join you?
So I am most active on Instagram. I am not great at Facebook or Twitter. I will respond to direct like queries on those. But yeah, Instagram is where I like to hang out. And I be honest, I mean, it's mostly pictures of the things I drink, my dogs and my cats, and that's
Yeah.
most of what you're gonna get. But they're
And
really cute dogs and cats.
I was fixing to say there was a comma in there, right? You're not drinking your dogs and your cats.
Just my margarita bikes, my dogs.
Gotcha. God, have you seen that meme that goes around probably every 6 months about the commas matter?
Yes, they do. Oxford comma or die.
There you go. uh, Tamara, that was very good talking with you tonight and hanging out. And we look forward to seeing you in Coastal Magic in February.
I can't wait.
Yay! So I will see everybody next time. Enjoy your evening.